Regardless of generation or trim level, the Corvette is an icon among American sports cars, an aspirational yet still achievable slice of the zenith of domestic engineering. Amongst this lineup of legends, the Z06 trim stands out as exceptionally representative of the Corvette experience. It started out strong thanks to Zora Duntov, picked up incredible new features with each generational update, and pushed engineers and drivers alike to their limits. Today, I'll be taking you on a lap through its history, and with Z06 so crazy, even the lead engineer admitted it was OP.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's the
America!
The story of the Corvette's Z06 trim level begins all the way back in 1962. The incredibly talented Zora Duntov, hearing that the AMA, and thus GM, was levying a ban on all forms of factory involvement in racing, took it upon himself to sneak in an options package for Corvette buyers of the era who were serious about pushing their beast at the track. Upgrades like stiffer shocks and springs, beefier sway bars, and stronger brakes with cooling to match differentiated the C2 Z06 from standard models. Although only 199 C2 Z06s were ever built, the list of upgrades inadvertently set the precedent for the next batch of Z06 models almost 40 years later.
Lateral G-Sport 93.
What speed?
Miles per hour 150. Push in 500%.
Pushing in 500%.
Speed 160 and climbing.
What the hell is going on?
We're tracking them.
Enhance that.
Speed 170, still climbing.
Does anybody have any idea what this is?
I do.
Well,
It's the next vet.
get me one.
In 2001, GM and the Corvette team were facing one of the better problems you can have as an automaker. The C5 generation Corvette was selling so well, their plan to make a budget option became obsolete. Not wanting to simply scrap all their hard work, Taj Yukter and company took the stiffer, lighter chassis they designed for the fixed-roof coupe and set their sights towards a familiar goal, a racing-focused, track-ready Corvette model. Seeing the familiarity, an engineer named Bill Nichols suggested they name the new version of the C5 the Z06, a revival of Corvette's classic racing trim. This time, not only did it get all the handling upgrades you would expect, it also got a brand new Z06 exclusive engine, the start of another tradition in the iconic trim. All told, the Z06 trim came back with a bang, earning the Corvette a more serious racing pedigree, and the iconic Z06 badge a reputation along with it. By 2006, with the launch of the C6, things had gone from sensible fun to insane, and I love it. The C6 Z06, in addition to a crazy new engine and recalibrated suspension setup, added yet another sacred piece to Z06 tradition, the wide body. Aggressively flared fenders housed air ducts, which ran cool air through the wider, lighter wheels over larger, higher-performance brake rotors for active brake cooling during heavy use. Oh, and that crazy engine, only the LS7, the biggest Chevy small block ever to leave the factory. At a massive 7 liters, the instant response from such a huge displacement and high compression ratio, coupled with the smooth and predictable power delivery from a naturally aspirated engine, meant that the C6 Z06 was a force to be reckoned with on the track, now churning out 505 horsepower. Looking at lap times on the Nürburgring, the C6Z can clock a 7:33, on par with a Porsche GT3 RS, Pagani Zonda, or Nissan GT-R. Where to go from the top then? How about over the top? Like way over the top. In 2015, it was time for the next generation of Z06, and even though we knew to expect the beautiful wide body, improved handling, and some form of crazy new engine, nothing could have prepared us for the sheer mechanical brutality at the heart of the C7 Z06. The LT4, exclusively under the hood of the C7Z at launch, produced a blistering 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque, using a 1.7-liter Eaton TVS supercharger. For the first time, an automatic Z06 entered the mix thanks to the lightning-fast and fairly robust 8-speed 8L90 transmission, but manual drivers were still in for a treat thanks to the 7-speed manual transmission from Tremec. Regardless of how you got power to the wheels though, the LT4 was an unbelievably potent engine, rocketing the C7Z to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds or less, depending on what surface you were on, and despite Uchter's later claim that the car was, quote, kind of all ate up with power, it shaved a whopping 23 seconds off the Nürburgring lap time for a 710, faster than an AMG GTR, and hot on the heels of a McLaren 600 LT. Aside from just raw power, there was also the weight savings. More components than ever were made of carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber?
Okay.
Carbon fiber? Carbon fiber? Carbon fiber? Carbon fiber? Carbon fiber!
To keep this absolute weapon stuck to the ground and pointed in the right direction, grip and braking got stronger than ever too. 6-piston front Brembos wrapped around huge 2-piece rotors to provide serious stopping power, and the 12-inch wide rear tires hugged the road around curves.
Wait for it, oh yeah! This is like everything I want in an American car. Yeah! C7, Z06, Z07 package, manual 2015.
In the years since, the Corvette team has cooled off a little on the Z06 trim, reining in the C8 version as it returned to form as a naturally aspirated, high-revving corner carver that still surprises on the straightaways. The new power plant is the LT6, which follows in the footsteps of the high-revving LS7, but with the benefits of a flat-plane crank, 4 times the cams, and 2 times the valves, letting it soar to an unbelievable 8,600 RPM. Although this engine technically overpowers the LT4 by 20 horsepower, the extra horses lie 2,000 RPM above the LT4's peak, and the LT4's 650 pound-feet comes in at 3,600 RPM, a far cry from the LT6's 460 pound-feet at 6,300. The power difference shows, too. C8 Z06 has an official best time of 7 minutes and 11 seconds around the ring. Be that as it may, I'm not saying any of that to disrespect the absolutely insane LT6 and the C8 Z06, and in fact I think that combo is probably the closest yet to embodying the true essence of a Z06 car. It definitely gives you more control over the C8 Z06, allowing you to use every last rev the engine has without fear of the back end suddenly stepping out mid-corner due to that supercharged torque. It's also the biggest flat-plane V8 ever in a production car, which couples with the initial D amount of revs this thing produces to give it some serious character, and set it apart in every conceivable way from the Stingray. Although the LT4 lives on in the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, happily shredding tires attached to a classic 6-speed manual, I can't help but look back with fondness on what will probably be the most powerful Z06 ever. It might have been a little tail-happy, and it might have pushed the envelope well past what was required of a track car, but I love them beyond words. That slight sense of danger, like the car is a wild horse that could try to throw you off if you ask too much of it, that's what makes a car fun for me, and for under 60 grand, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for coming with me on this tour of the Z06. I didn't mention too many cons because this video was more about the history of the trim level than any specific car itself, but I will say the C7s do have some issues characteristic of flying too close to the sun. The oil gets pretty hot if you beat on the car for long periods, the wheels can crack if you launch it too much, and the leather-wrapped interior, especially that dashboard, can delaminate in the sun. If you want to get into the specifics, let me know which generation Corvette I should go into first in the comments, and I'd love to do a deep dive. Otherwise, see you next time!